Hey, it's Paris. You know, I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me, serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's Claudia Monticelli here, your host today and the host of this podcast, Let's Talk Soul. A lot of people write to me, and when they hear the title of the podcast, they think it's about music. And I say, well, no, it's not, soul and rhythm and blues. That's my music. But no, this is different. But today we have Debra Cohen. Debra, say hello to our audience. She's speaking to us from Florida.
Hello, hello, hello from warm and cozy Florida.
We were just saying how cold it is now in Florida as we record this. Who is she? She does what other guests didn't do. She does have music. She's basically a musician. She was born into a Catholic family with a Jewish soul. And right there we get an idea of where her life's path was headed, perhaps. God started communicating to her through music when she was just a child. She struggled with the meaning or for the meaning of her supernatural experiences with tears, as her mother drilled into her head that crying is a sign of weakness. Mm-hmm. She didn't tell anyone about her struggle, and she told no one also about being sexually abused until the memories came flooding back after a car accident decades later. So, her road is paved with a lot of different twists and turns. She wrote a song to alleviate the pain and called it Your Debt. She found spiritual enlightenment in Jerusalem while studying the Torah, and her tears became joyful as she finally understood why she was crying to a song in Hebrew. She converted to Judaism, and she shares this revelation with you in her music, and you can find her music on her website, DebraCohenmusic.com. I will include this in the notes of this episode. Now, where to begin? So, when I mentioned that it's not really about music, but there is a lot to be said about soul, in your case, your soul, and healing, and the power of healing, and the power of prayer in healing. Where should we start? Where should we start? What's a nice girl like you doing in a place like this?
Well, life is, like you said, is full of twists and turns. And coming from an extremely dysfunctional family, I had no idea of what my purpose was in life. But then I found out later as a public high school teacher that most kids, unless they have good parenting, have no idea of their destined divine purpose in life. And so I had to come to the realization of my purpose for being here spiritually,
yes,
by communication from the divine at an early age.
What form did this take?
It took the form of music. And because I was abused as a child, I had learned to guard myself by like a shell. What's
Yes.
that creature a seashell, right? It goes,
Right.
it withdraws
Or
when
a
people
tortoise
get near.
shell, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So I needed to be opened up because I was protecting myself and fearful as a child. And so the music somehow permeated the soul in me that I never knew. I didn't know as a kid what a soul was.
Yeah.
I just thought, this thing I call my earth suit now, that's me, right? That's the real me. I didn't know that according to my beliefs, that a soul has two parts, and animal soul or the physical realm, and then the spiritual soul. I didn't know that. The godly soul,
Well, let
whoever
me
we want to
can
claim God to be.
maybe you can expound on that and explain to me what this means.
Okay, well, a physical soul is like, if I compare it to a car, my
Okay.
favorite car, the Mustang, I guess, because that's what I used to drive, is a 3-speed stick shift. That's the physical soul. But the battery is what runs the car, and the battery is our godly soul. And a lot of us don't know that the battery needs to be charged. So, metaphorically speaking, we're walking around in life with a dead battery. It's possible. And a lot of people do that. And even I was doing that because I was not aware of the spiritual dimension of myself. I just figured I had a body with a brain and that, whatever else. So uh, God needed to communicate with me, and God communicates with everybody at different times in their lives. And we still have the choice to acknowledge the Holy One when the call comes. And the call because it's unusual behavior, unusual communication.
How was
And
it in your case?
in my case, I was standing in a Catholic church getting ready to receive communion. And this was pre-Vatican II.
Mhm.
And so everything was very holy, the smoke and
How
head
old were
coverings.
you?
And oh, jeepers, I don't know, maybe, let's see, by the time you get in the 8th grade, you can deny Catholicism which is what I
12
did. So
years old?
yeah,
Eighth,
probably 12.
12,
12,
13. Uh-huh.
yeah. So, like you had mentioned, my mother drilled into our heads that crying was a sign of weakness.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned very early not to cry. And here I was standing in the communion line to receive the wafer communion.
Right.
And the music gets to me in a way that unleashes these pent-up emotions that I had done very well to hide in my body and mind. And I started crying listening to this music.
Was
My
it
soul in
music
stillness wakes.
with no lyrics, just sound?
Well, there was a singer for this music, Catholic music,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think it was so much the words, although I do remember the words. It was the music. It was the reverence
Mm-hmm.
that got under my skin, got to my soul, and opened up the floodgates of anguish that I was holding on to from abuse and didn't know how to channel it.
Mm-hmm.
So this becomes a healing for me, which I didn't understand until later on, that God was channeling pain. And so I would be standing in the communion line and trying to keep my emotions in check, which I had learned to do as a child. And I start weeping and
Mm.
I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. What's wrong I'm out of control. I'm 12 years old. What am I doing? So I put my head down and I'm like, oh, please don't make me sob. I don't know who I'm talking to. I'm talking to myself. And I get up to the altar and I just raise my head and put my hands out to receive the communion host and take a few steps to the left and take the Eucharist wine and go back to my pew, and on my knees we go and cup my hands and put my face in my hands and tried to sob without anybody hearing me because I didn't want to draw attention myself. I didn't want anybody to know I was crying. That's a sign of weakness, said my mother.
Do you have any siblings?
I'm the oldest of 9.
Oh, my dear. Wow. That's a lot of siblings. That's a large
That's a
family. Incredible.
Catholic mom. They use the what is it called? The rhythm method. Well,
Yeah.
it didn't work for her.
Wow. Interesting this is. So let's say this happened at a very young age.
Hmm.
How did what was, let's say, the road to Israel and Judaism? When was the first encounter you had with that religion?
Well, let's see. As I mentioned briefly, that by the time in Catholicism, it used to be at least in the 60s, that but in the eighth grade, a child has the right to decide whether they want to continue in Catholicism or not. And I chose not to, so became secular and just found my way meandering through life and school, looking for a boyfriend because the Beatles became this crazy Beatlemania in the United States. And I mean, oh my gosh, I love the Beatles. And
Oh, so I
they
can
became a,
imagine your
oh,
mother when you took this decision. You took it and she knew that you had decided, right?
oh, yeah. I don't think she really cared because she
Ah,
never went to church with us.
ah.
She dropped us off at the front steps and, being the oldest and having some kind of cognitive faculties, I one time turned to her as she's sitting in the car and we're getting out to go to church. And I just turned to her and said, Ma, why don't you go to church with us? And she just, like she always talked to me, don't do what I do, do what I say.
Oh, we have a
So,
bigot here. Okay. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Big time. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
okay, what's the point of this, Ma? If you don't go, what's the point of us
Hmm.
going? So I became
Interesting.
very rebellious, and
Hmm.
that's one of the reasons I decided to leave. I'm thinking, this is hypocritical. I don't, you start smelling hypocrites, and John Lennon came up with that song, Give Me Some Truth. I'm like, I'm tired of these hypocrites.
Hmm.
Anyway, so I left and wandered around, and then, of course, got into a rock
When
band because
wait,
music
wait.
became
You're
my
going so
life.
fast. When you say you left, you mean you left your home and started your you started living out of your home? Is that what you mean?
No, no, no. I left the church.
Ah, okay. You left the
Yeah,
church. Okay.
I did my, what did they call it? Confirmation. I did my
Confirmation, right.
cap and gown ceremony, and then I left. I love
Stockings.
I yeah, yeah, I mean, I love the outfit, especially the communion outfit was
Yeah.
glorious. I felt so very holy as a second grader doing
So
communion service.
you
Mm.
then joined a band? Uh,
Well, yes, I mean, I would escape into the library in high school and listen to Beatle records, with my headphones on.
mhm,
And it just because I had such a lousy childhood, I found solace in the Beatles
mhm,
records. And so I just, that's all I wanted to do was be a musician because
mhm.
that's the only time I was happy was around music.
When you say being a musician, do you sing or play instruments, or what do you do in the band? I mentioned the 80s. You were a part of a
Oh,
band.
yeah.
Mm.
Well, it took me a while to sing again because in my Beatle days as a teen, I used to love singing to Olivia Newton-John records in my bedroom. So, I would have a singing session because it made me feel good about myself. And I'd come downstairs for dinner, and then my mother said, "Was that you singing up there?" And I'm like, "Yeah, Mama." She's like, "You sound like a sick cow."
Oh,
And
wow.
so it destroyed
And the
me.
bigot
I mean,
speaks.
yeah, honestly, I mean, she just did her very best to destroy me with her words.
Hmm.
She was besides her physical beatings and
Oh,
anyway.
dear.
So I just stopped singing because I thought, I don't need this anyway. So but I loved music, and so I
Hmm.
went to a psychologist to get over the fear of singing in front of people because,
I
who
see.
wants to be criticized,
Right.
negatively criticized, and, decided to take up guitar lessons,
Good.
because of Robin Trower. I got indoctrinated into loving guitar playing by him.
Hmm.
I just loved his guitar playing, and he's still out there playing, kudos to him. And
Hmm.
so I moved to Boston, went to college in Brookline, Massachusetts for music, and discovered I'd had dyslexia and I couldn't read music theory. So I dropped out as soon as I could play bar chords and got into a rock band in Boston in
Uh-huh.
1980.
And there,
And,
what did you do? Were you singing there?
Yeah, singing and playing guitar, and,
Uh-huh.
we opened up for Joan Jett. That was the highlight of our life,
What's that?
and
What's that of
oh,
Joan Jett?
you know that song, "I love rock and roll, so put another dime in the jukebox, baby," you know? Joan Jett
My
and the Blackhearts? Maybe
my
she's
young
not famous in Italy.
Oh, no, no, I was not a rocker. And I
Oh, okay.
cannot say my younger sister was a rocker. My older sister was a rocker. I don't know what happened to me. I went discoing in all of the discos.
Oh, well,
I was
there's
rhythm
nothing
and
wrong with
blues,
disco.
disco,
That's
dancing.
cool.
Yeah,
I
well.
won a bump contest. I mean, come on. Stevie Wonder was the bomb. I mean,
Yes.
I cut my teeth on soul music with Stevie Wonder and Diana Ross. I still love them to this day.
So we are in on the East Coast, and you're part of the band. Are you still part of the band, or did that end after a while?
Okay, well, the thing was because I was not very confident of my singing, I used to drink a lot or take
Hmm.
drugs to
Oh,
anesthetize myself.
I was deep in it, gaming on Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7. Unfolding the screen made it twice as big and so immersive, I kinda lost myself. Might have trolled a little too close to the sun. Someone in the chat told me to touch grass, so I took my Z Fold 7 outside and kept playing. Still won, got a tan, and a nice little reset. Powerful processor, realistic graphics, you stay locked in, streak stays alive. Can your phone do that?
The new Galaxy Z Fold 7. Get yours at Samsung.com.
Gatorade is the #1 proven electrolyte blend designed to hydrate better than water. So you can lose more sweat and raise your game. Gatorade, is it in you?
And but
oh,
in the process of being high all the time, I kind of lost myself.
okay.
I thought, I was to the point where I thought I sounded good, but I really
Oh,
didn't.
oh, we
It
have
just gave me the
another bump in the road.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
it gave me the courage to get up there and sing, because I didn't
Yeah.
have any self-confidence. But I took a bad drug trip and almost died. So
Hmm.
that's when I first cried out to God for
Hmm.
surely, and that
Okay.
asked him, if you let me live, I'll serve you. And I'm like, what am I
Okay.
saying? But
Yeah. So that is the moment you made a, let's say, promise or a vow of some sort, and
mm-hmm.
that did take a turn for the positive, didn't it?
Oh
Out of
yes, yeah,
mhm.
yeah. I got a charge in my dead battery, so to speak,
Okay.
and all of a sudden I had this desire to know who God is, because
Hmm.
I knew about God from, Catholicism, Catholic Bible, whatever you call it, catechism,
Hmm.
but never had a connection with God,
Hmm.
you know? I knew he was out there in the sky somewhere, but I had no idea that he could actually be a part of who we are. And
Right.
that's why
Right.
I went to Israel to study the Torah, and because most Christians, they tell you don't read the Torah because it's defunct. I'm like, oh,
Hmm.
really? If you really think about it, Jesus Christ taught the Torah, so how can something be defunct that he taught? That doesn't make any sense. But
And what
we're not.
was it that
Yeah.
really made you decide to enter that religion? What was it? Or had you gone to Israel with that in mind? Did you know that you were destined to do that already?
No, no, no. When I went to
Okay.
Israel, I had no idea. I
Uh-huh.
just knew that I was going to find out more about God, and I wanted to go to the Holy Land in Israel. But it was when I came back and I started listening to Hebrew music when I discovered that Jesus was a Jew. That's something else
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know until I went to
Uh-huh.
Israel. I'm like, what are you talking about? Jesus was a Jew? I'm like, come
Yeah.
on. I had no idea. So all of us, I started listening to Hebrew music because I wanted to know more about the holy language. And I was listening to this song that I had no idea what it was in Hebrew. But every time I heard it, I cried again, like I did
Mm-hmm.
in the Catholic Church as a child. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know why, but every time I heard this one particular song, I would weep just like I did when I was 12 years old. I'm like, okay, I don't know what's happening, but it must be something spiritual that's happening, because
Yeah.
It's the same thing that happened to me when I was 12, and I'm not sure what this is. So I found out what the words were. It was the Aaronic blessing, which
Mhm.
is in Christians call it the Old Testament, and it's God blessing the priest blessing the people. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is wild. So I contacted the artist that recorded that song and asked permission to record it. And I got permission.
Mhm.
And so you can actually hear that Aaronic blessing by Deborah Cohen
Mhm.
if you look for it.
Good.
And that started my passion for writing Psalms in Hebrew and English.
So you're saying you actually write psalms?
Yeah, well, Psalms are, poetry to
Yes.
music.
Uh-huh.
So, Psalms and it's really songs. I
Mhm.
use the words from the Psalms in an English translation, which,
Right.
and something always gets lost in the
Of
translation
course.
because it's a human being that's translating.
Mhm.
So, it's their spin on what God is saying. You have to go to the original context to really know what's going on.
Right. Okay, now wait a minute. Um,
Yeah.
in all of this, we went from one place to another place to another place, came back, we started singing, we started playing songs, psalms and all that. You mentioned when you wrote to me that of the power of prayer in the healing
Yes.
process. Now,
Yes.
in your case, I don't need the numbers or exactly when, but when did you actually understand that you were praying?
Okay. Probably once I left Catholicism and before I went to Israel,
Yeah.
I moved to Nashville to be a blues singer.
Uh-huh. Oh, now
After I
that's a little
after I
more my
y
style.
yeah, after I got rejected, by the Catholic Church, because I gave 'em a second chance after I got healed from my drug overdose, and
Uh-huh.
I tried to become a nun and, had an
Didn't we all?
interview. Yeah, try in the 1990 in the Portland, Maine diocese there. Father Bob interviewed me, and anyway, he didn't think I was, suitable to be a nun, I
No,
guess.
you weren't none material.
No, so I went to Nashville instead in '94 and, started singing the blues, and
Uh-huh.
so anyway, I couldn't go back to the Catholic Church because of I didn't like the way I was treated by Father Bob. That was his second chance, and he blew it. So I started going into Pentecostal churches in Nashville
Uh-huh.
and started studying instead of waiting for the priest to spoon feed me.
Right.
That's
Mhm.
why it's in Latin, because only they can understand what's going on supposedly, but they don't. They're corrupt for the most part. Anyway, so I started reading the Bible for myself, and it's like
Okay.
jaw-dropping
Now, the
information.
Bible, when you say the Bible,
Yeah, yeah.
this is a terrain, what Bible,
Oh, yeah.
which,
Oh,
who wrote it, which one?
exactly,
So
exactly.
where did you get your Bible? Come on, I
Okay,
want to know.
yeah, I got my Bible from Jack Hayford Ministries
Uh-huh.
and studied his Bible because there was
Okay.
a lot of commentary.
Uh-huh.
It's not like the King James where they keep you
Yeah.
wondering what in the hell
What they're
was King
trying to
James
say.
talking about,
Uh-huh.
What does this mean? Wait a minute now, wasn't he a glutton? I think he took that part of the sins out of the King James Bible so he could keep being a glutton. So anyway, I'm like,
So from what
you
you're
find out.
saying now,
Yeah.
from Maine and Tennessee and the whole bit, I'm thinking you've been praying a long time. You've been
Oh,
praying a long time,
hey,
but you didn't
come on,
call
man.
it that.
I'm 70 years old. I'm not going to have no short story,
Oh
and
no,
I
no.
yeah.
But I
Yeah.
mean, to try to find the moment when you started to think that you were actually praying, I imagine
Ah,
that it's about when you got out of the addiction. Could that have been it?
yes. It could have
Okay,
been it,
okay.
but I was always praying. I memorized the whole mass, the Catholic mass in Latin.
Uh-huh.
I was praying the best I understood it to be
Right.
prayer, but it
Hmm.
was really only praying to God. It wasn't
Okay.
waiting for an answer.
Okay.
I
Okay.
didn't know I could hear from God. I
So,
didn't know.
so now wait a minute. Wait, before we get sidetracked. So when you say I didn't know that I could talk to God without using other people's words or reading it from a book, when you say that prayer has an enormous healing power, let's see if we could try to explain that. And with an
Okay.
example, I know it's very personal. I know if I can understand if you don't want to share it, but
Oh, I don't mind.
trying to make our listeners understand better.
Okay. All right. When I got to Nashville, and after I was there for 7 months singing the blues,
Uh-huh.
there were 16 bands competing in the Best Unsigned Blues Band contest, and my band placed third after only being in
Ooh.
Nashville for 7 months. So I thought I
Wow.
had a feather in my cap. Yeah, that's great
Good.
because the
Wow.
competition is fierce. But I fell into a depression after that,
Oh, of course.
severe, where
Yeah.
I wanted to commit suicide but didn't have the courage to kill myself. So I went to a doctor instead, and he gave me a pen and paper test for clinical depression.
Uh-huh.
And I came back for the results, and he said, "Well, I got some good news for you. You're not depressed."
There
And
you
I'm
go.
like, "Are you kidding? Are you kidding me? I don't want to live." And so he said I needed some drugs or something because I
Oh,
didn't like
so
who I
he was
was.
trying to kill you.
Well, he wouldn't give me any medicine. I was like,
Okay.
"Sorry, you're not clinically depressed." So that's when I found out about spiritual oppression. I'm like,
Okay.
spiritual oppression?
What was your take on that at the time? Spiritual oppression.
Oh, well, I mean, it's very real. It's a feeling of heaviness. It's described in the Bible. I think it's in Isaiah 60 or 61. The spirit God gives us the righteous. I forget the words anyway. Planting of the Lord that He may be anyway. Yeah, I just knew that I couldn't keep living, so I looked for a spiritual counselor that could deliver me from lust and depression. And I
And
found somebody.
who? Oh, pray
I
tell.
don't know what his name was. It
Oh,
was in
no,
the
no.
90s.
No, but I mean, where and how did you find the person?
Oh, through the
Through
church.
a church. Okay.
Yeah. And so as a matter of fact, before I went through my spiritual counseling or deliverance, because the
Yeah.
Catholic
Yes,
Church does
deliverance.
that.
Yes.
They do deliverance, and they
Yeah.
call it an exorcism.
Oh, yeah.
So I was familiar with that. I wasn't afraid of it.
Uh-huh.
And because I had, brought up in it. But anyway, we went to this prayer circle with the guy that was going to help me get
Oh,
delivered.
okay.
And he was showing me a medical doctor who had brought these trinkets back from Asia.
Yeah.
And he all of a sudden became demonically, I don't know if you want to
Possessed?
say, oh, yes.
Uh-huh. In
And
front of
so
all of you?
This episode is sponsored by Friskies, who would like to tell your cats hi. Now, if that didn't get your cat's attention, there is one thing that always does the trick. Just pour some Friskies crunchy food in the bowl and you'll hear those paws come running. Works every time. With so many Friskies choices, you can always bring your cats running from their secret napping spots. There's always more to explore. See for yourself at friskies.com or visit your local store.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
in front of all of us, and the
Uh-huh.
guy puts his hands on this doctor who's an older man,
Yeah.
very humble, but he's desperate for healing. And all of a sudden, like the guy was saying, I'll call him Roger. That might have been his name.
Okay.
Roger puts his hands on the doctor and the doctor's head. We're sitting in a circle. The doctor's head shoots back like in this most
Yeah.
abnormal perverted
movement.
posture,
Mhm.
and his tongue stuck out like a pointed tongue, scared the bejesus out of me. And
Yeah.
I started praying fervently, and I'm like, oh
Okay.
God, please don't
Okay.
let this thing come near me. I mean,
Yeah. And
like,
I'm so thankful for you that you shared this with us, because so many people don't understand that it really happens. It does
yes, it
really
does. It really
happen. There
does.
is
Yes,
possession. Yeah.
yes, there is. And so I studied it very well and went through my own deliverance for, like I said, lust, because I
Uh-huh.
was guilty of premarital sex. I don't think
Mhm.
it's right, even though
Uh-huh.
I went through the hippie phase and, slept with my boyfriends, I
Uh-huh.
didn't know any better. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, and oppression. So I was delivered from a spirit of oppression
Mhm.
called AKA depression,
Mhm.
and was beyond joyful
So after
to
that
yeah.
was, let's say, your reawakening, could we call it?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, awakening or
Uh,
deliverance. It's
okay.
deliverance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Deliverance.
Deliverance. Interesting.
Yes.
I'm going to
Deliverance.
give the title to this episode that Deliverance.
Yeah.
Deliverance.
Deliverance. For sure. Deliver me from evil. That's a prayer. We
Yeah.
ask God to
Yeah.
protect us from the enemy. But I
Uh-huh.
wasn't living right by God. So I opened up myself to spiritual warfare, of the
Oh,
finest kind, 101s. But so anyway, I was exuberant
yeah.
after that,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
felt like I got baptized in the Spirit. I went to Don Fento's church there, a Belmont Church in Nashville.
Uh-huh.
Got dunked in the water,
Right.
clean,
Yes.
holy
A sort
water,
of
bathe me.
baptism of sorts. Yeah.
Yes, protect me, God. Don't let those things
Hmm.
come back
Oh, how
in.
interesting.
Oh
How
yeah, they can.
interesting.
They can come back in. There's something in the scripture that says they'll find you spiritually clean and roam the earth to and fro, and they have no place else to go. So there's 7 more that come back and inhabit you, like Mary
Oh, yeah.
Magdalene,
Well,
right?
there are a lot of stories like that roaming around, but the spiritual world, let's say, both positive and negative spirits, are here with us all
Yes,
the
that's
time.
right.
So
They
we have
are.
to know
That's
that.
right.
Yeah.
You
Uh-huh.
have to know that. And so in order to know that, you have to actually ask God for discerning of spirits. It's
Okay.
not it's
Okay.
not something that, I mean, some people are gifted, like maybe
Yes.
you are, or you're
Yeah.
born with
Yeah.
discerning,
Yeah.
and you can see things in the spiritual world
Sure.
because, we have physical senses, but we also have spiritual senses.
Sure.
And, some
A third
people,
eye. Hmm.
you have to like practice and fine tune and use them, hopefully for the good instead of
Well,
for
wait
the
a minute. Now,
evil.
Deborah, here I'm going on talking, and I didn't get to the good stuff. Um, you wrote a book.
Oh yes, I wrote a book. Yes,
All right.
uh, I wrote 2 books, but the book I'd like to introduce is one I'm writing now called Soul Sing.
Okay. Now, wait a minute.
And
Let's go
yep.
in order. Okay.
Oh,
So let's, when we get to the book, when the first book, what's the first book's title?
it's a loaded gun. It's called Jewish Palestine, Arab Palestine, A History of Conflict.
Oh, I mean, 1,000 pages?
No, it's actually a very easy to read outline.
Wait a second.
And
Now say the title again. It's Jewish Palestine
Jewish
and
Palestine / Arab
yeah.
Palestine, A History of Conflict.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And
Okay.
it's not a story, it's an outline. And I
See. It's sort of
became
a timeline. Mm-hmm.
I came concerned after October 7th massacre in 2023 in the Negev desert, because a lot of college students in America are flying the flags for Hamas. And I'm like,
What
ah,
what date was this when it was published?
April 25th, 2024.
2024. Okay. And you're talking now already about a second book. Is it completed yet?
No, I'm going to complete it this week, though. That's the one
Okay,
that's called
so
Soul Sing.
upcoming, and what is the title of that?
Okay, it's called Soul Sing. And then the underline is Singing Torah for Health and Holiness.
All right, so
Singing
when you say
Torah.
soul sing, it's
Yep.
2 words, right?
Two words.
2 words. Sing, and the subtitle is Singing Torah.
For health and
Uh-huh.
holiness.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll be looking out for that. And it's in the making. You'll finish it this week, and they could find it on your website, DebraCohenMusic.com. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. That's
All
right. I
All
didn't
right.
I didn't finish answering my question though about healing. Did you
Ah,
wanna-
but that's okay. We got it. We got it. We got it. All right. So you mentioned to me before we started the interview that you wanted to highlight the importance of prayer. Now, is that because you need to verbally mention or ask or thank? What is it about prayer that makes it so important for healing?
Well, healings can come from multiple spiritual sources.
Mhm.
You know, we know there's such thing as warlocks and what do they call witch doctors and shamans. So there's different ways of healing, but my healer is Hashem. I call him Hashem when I'm speaking about him because his name is too reverent to speak.
Mhm.
And but he's the Holy One of Israel. And so we have
Okay.
to ask for healing. One of his attributes is as a healer, and I've experienced several amazing miraculous healings from him when doctors were not able to help me.
Mhm. Right.
The first one being Meniere's disease,
Uh-huh.
which is detrimental for a singer.
Mhm.
And so what
Debilitating,
happens?
really. What is Demure's? Tell us about the disease.
Meniere's disease is
Meniere's.
vertigo
Uh-huh.
and inability to hear. It's a middle inner ear problem. So
Instability
and
too. There's
yeah,
difficult
yeah,
movement. Huh?
right. So I received a healing for that and other major illnesses. And the way that I receive healing from God is through singing.
Okay.
That's why my book is
It
Soul
is.
Sing. I talk
Mhm.
about the connection that anybody can have with God if they learn the meaning of singing, not from the physical realm, but your soul actually can sing.
Okay.
And it has a different sound from your strictly physical voice.
Of course.
And you have to learn how to develop your soul's voice to
Mhm.
reach the higher levels of the divine
Yeah.
where healing takes place.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Debra, I don't know how to thank you because this was just, all right, we just touched the surface on so many topics, and we did follow you around the world, and we got in all of those traps that life really set out for you, and falling in,
Temptations. Yes.
standing up, the
Yes.
temptations, and here singing
Oh,
away,
yes.
and the
Oh,
disease
yes.
that could have taken your voice away.
Yes.
I will put all of this information under the episode. If you could leave our audience with one thought, what would you say?
Find out, each one of you, what your soul purpose is for being here. Everybody was born with a unique gift that only they have. The world needs you, each and every one of you. You're like a piece of this big puzzle called life. And without your puzzle piece, we're missing something.
Right.
So we need you to discover your gifts
As
to
soon as
become
possible. Mm-hmm.
in goodness, in the goodness, to make this world a better place.
Yeah.
We've done a
Yeah.
really good job of screwing things up and making this world
Say that again.
wicked.
Yeah.
So it's time for us to turn around, turn tshuva, they call it in Judaism, make
Yeah.
teshuvah, repentance, whatever you want. Turn back to the one who made you.
Yeah.
And life will be a roller coaster,
Different,
but in a good way.
In a good way. Thanks again, Debra. I hope we have a chance to talk again. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Claudia. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to follow Let's Talk Soul Podcast on Instagram. Let's Talk Soul Podcast is a production of Electrocast Media. Our executive producers are Mark Netter and Peter Rafelson. If you like our show and like what you hear, please subscribe and give us a rating wherever you enjoy podcasts. And remember, stay curious, stay inspired, and never stop exploring the depths of your soul.
You deserve better healthcare, and so do we all. Medicine in America is a podcast that shares real stories of patients and doctors reshaping the future, because the revolution in care isn't coming, it's already here. Real stories, real change, a better future for healthcare.
Electrocast.